#1, and New England's not even ranked in New England's. But they have a fine defense. Their offense has something to be desired. They won their last game, an outing versus Maine, 3-0. Before that, they lost 5 straight. Connecticut controlling the ball. Now a steal down by John Forster. Forster kicks it all the way back to his goaltender, Gardner. And Gardner is a junior out of Keene, New Hampshire. He's 5'10", 170 pounds, and he has control of the ball, and he rolls it along the sideline for Kevin Rush. And Rush, who is a back, will start up the offense for the New Hampshire Wildcats. Last year, the Wildcats would start out 10 straight games during the middle part of the year. They only scored in 4 games last year, totaling 7 goals on the whole year. So they really didn't have much scoring punch at all. Right now, New Hampshire has the ball deep in the Husky territory, but I believe we're going to have Tim
after direct.
And Hampshire's going to have a direct kick right outside the penalty area. It's about 26 minutes and 54 seconds to go here in the first half. We'd like to thank John Murphy, our general manager, for being our technical director for today. And he put up with a lot of problems we had back here, but we finally got on the air. And we'd like to thank him. And we also like to thank our sponsors throughout the whole year who've been helping us out. Here's WHUS Storrs, Connecticut. Here's a direct kick by Scott Ryder. Ryder kicks it in front of the Connecticut goal. Now it's loose in front, shot by a New Hampshire player, but finally kicked out of the way by Jim Lyman. As Connecticut does not clear the ball properly, and New Hampshire man sends it back into the penalty area, but Connecticut quickly regathers the ball. Billy Maroney bringing it down on a break. Maroney passes up to DeBrito. DeBrito brings it over to midfield line. It's a 2-on-3 break, and DeBrito now slows it up, brings it around the midfield circle, and passes over to Eddie Lynch. And Lynch will start things up for Connecticut. Lynch on the left side to Meyer, but his pass is not good enough, and Ryder comes up with the steal. Ryder controlling the ball. He's a junior out of Margaretville, New York, and he sends a pass up into the Connecticut zone for Ron Fancy. Fancy did not start the game. Comes up and passes the ball on the right side, kicked off Tim Maisley's foot. And the ball goes out right in front of the Hampshire. The Wildcats will have a throw-in with 25 minutes and 49 seconds to go here in the first half. No score at Gardner Dow Field. A beautiful day for a soccer game. There's not a cloud in the sky. The sun is shining. Temperatures in about the 60s to the 70s. New Hampshire controlling the ball deep in the Husky zone. This is number 10, Jeff Growney. Growney trying to send one up in front, but the Huskies kick the ball out of bounds. And it's going to be a corner kick to the Hampshire right side. And Pierce starting his first game of the season, or his first game of the season in quite some time since the Stanford game, as Jim Moynihan injured with a shoulder problem. Checking in the game for the Huskies, Sean Sullivan comes into the game, and we do not see who he replaces. Now coming around the sideline is here's the corner kick by Ryder. Ryder in front of the goal, but Tony Pierce makes the save. He pushes out of bounds. Sean Sullivan was not playing.
Another New Hampshire. Sullivan that plays the Summers, but Carlos
got around him and knocked the ball out. It'll be another corner kick for New Hampshire again on the right side, and again it'll be Scott Ryder taking it. So Carlos now jogging off the field. Ryder setting up. He's a left-footed booter, and he kicks one again in front of the goal. It's headed by a Husky. Now it's settled down on the foot of Jeff Growney. Growney sends it in front of the penalty area, and it's teammate Eric Chinberg has it, but Chinberg can't control it. Last touch off the same corner kick, this time on the left side, but Tony Pierce kind of arguing. Will doesn't believe that. New Hampshire with their third corner kick in about a span of a minute and a half. And the Huskies having problems controlling the ball now as New Hampshire has it deep in the Connecticut zone, and they've kept it there for the last couple of minutes. This time setting up with the corner kick, Scott True. True is going to be right-footed booter from the left side, and he sends a low liner in front looking for the headers of Hughes. It was a shot on goal, and Pierce with the save. A nice shot on goal by John Forster. And the New Hampshire team almost came up with their first goal. Forster has 1 goal on the season for 2 points. Their leading scorer is Tim Linehan with 1 goal and 3 assists for 5 points. Mike Pilot next with 2 goals and for 4 points. And it was a play around midfield, and Jim Lyman was tripped on the play, and so it was
Connecticut
direct kick right around the midfield line. New Hampshire opened up the season beating Boston U 1-0 in overtime, and Bowdoin 1-0 in overtime. Then they lost to Boston College Providence, both scores by 1-0. Keene State they lost to 3-1. South Maine 2-1, and Plymouth State 2-0. Then they defeated Maine 3-0, one of their most productive offensive showings. Now it's Myron with the kick, and he sends it over the goal. Huskies seem to get very close to New Hampshire goal, but Myron and he sent it over the goal, so it'll be New Hampshire goal kick. And the Huskies playing even with New Hampshire so far. New Hampshire has a very, very good defense. Scott True, John Forster, Kevin Rush, and I believe Mike Colburn. Colburn is a captain of the team, as well as John Forster. Both of those people playing the defensive back. They're very experienced, and they know what they're doing. This is Charlie McSpear. McSpear steals the ball, sending it up for a teammate, but Tim Linehan comes up with the steal. Linehan streaks across midfield. Linehan controlling the ball, passes up for Ron Fancy. Fancy controls it, coming down momentarily, but Tim Maisley steps in between him, and Fancy ends up kicking the ball.
For number 2, Tim Maisley.
Maisley sends it all the way back to Tony Pierce, and Pierce will start it up there. Pierce wearing his gold top with green shorts. as the goalie. Huskies wearing their home whites. New Hampshire wearing their dark black shirts. I guess it must be a dark green color since they do that. Their school color is not black. It's very dark green with white shorts. And the ball controlled around midfield. This is New Hampshire's ball. Scott Ryder. Ryder sending a pass on the right side over for teammate Scott True. True trying to send it upfield. It goes over the sideline. And head coach Bob Cullen, who's in his 4th year, just gives himself a
Connecticut throw in by number 9, Graziano Cornolo.
Time on the play. Cornolo makes the throw. He gets it into Eric Meyer, but Meyer has the ball stripped from him by Jeff Browning. And Browning controlling for the Wildcats. Browning sends it back, a pass back to Scott Ryder. Ryder looking up for a teammate, finds Tim Linehan, and Linehan chips it into the area, but there's no Wildcat around, and Tim Maisley will streak down to the line and get the ball. Maisley, who is right on the sideline, right next to the goal line, sends a pass up to Eric Meyer. Meyer controlling the ball, sending a pass up to midfield for Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito having some problems getting around Mike Colburn, sends a pass back to Graziano Cornolo, and Cornolo controls it for the Connecticut Huskies. Cornolo sending a pass on the right side for a break from Sean Sullivan. Sullivan has to race Chris Rydell. Well, the ball goes out of bounds before either player can get it. And it'll be a New Hampshire throw-in from the far sideline with 21 minutes and 38 seconds to go here in the first half. Connecticut, with a record of 10-2, is scoreless, as well as New Hampshire, has a record of 3-5. On the year for New Hampshire, they have only scored 5, 6, 7 goals in their 8 games, so just less than 1 a game. DeBrito controlling the ball for the Huskies. Passing the left side for Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo has some room. He has to get around Mike Colburn. Cornolo with the ball on the left side. Gets around one New Hampshire Wildcat. Centering pass in front for Lyman. Goes by Lyman. DeBrito with a shot. And it goes one. Oh, DeBrito had a nice goal.
Into the game for number 11, Elvis Lowry. And number 20, Roger Pringle. The Wildcats. Number 6, Bob Mason. And number 9, Mike Tyler.
The score is still scoreless. Graham Ronan, we'll see how Cornolo take it. Either Carlos re-enters the game, as well as, I believe, number 20, Roger Bernays. And a couple Wildcats also checked in. The ball bouncing around loose. New Hampshire controls it. This is Mike Pilot. Pilot sends the ball back to Mike Colburn, and Colburn throws it into New Hampshire zone. Colburn passes back to teammate Damon Walters. Walters sending a pass up for Tim Linehan, and Linehan having some problems getting around a few Huskies, but he gets the ball away to Scott Ryder, and Ryder controls it in the Connecticut zone. Ryder sending a pass up to a streaking Chris Rydell. Rydell beats number 22, Sean Sullivan, to the ball, but Sullivan fouls, I believe, or is going to be called for obstruction on Rydell, and it's going to be a New Hampshire indirect kick right outside the penalty area on the left side of the Connecticut zone.
UCONN obstruction. New Hampshire indirect.
Indirect kick for New Hampshire. Pick out the number of the man taking it. Sends the ball in front of the goal, looking for the header. It is number 19, Chimberg. He hits it up, heads it up in the air. Ball loose in front of the Connecticut zone goal, and Lyman clears it out right out to midfield, where it's picked up by Kevin Rush. Rush sends it right back on the penalty area. This time, Charlie McSpirit does the clearing job, and he gets it all the way past midfield. And Jim Dorsanio racing with it with Kevin Rush, but Rush wins the race. But Dorsanio's still with him, step for step. Dorsanio makes the steal on the right side. Dorsanio gets around Rush on the right side. He's entering the area, sending a centering pass for DeVito a little bit out in front and cleared away by Forster as he goes over the throw-in. Connecticut will have a throw-in. The crowd's starting to wake up. Only about 1,000 to 1,500 fans at most are here at Gardner Dow. I would say less than 1,000. As the Huskies playing a not very highly rated New Hampshire team. Carlos centering pass in front of New Hampshire, clears it out way over the goal line, and Connecticut this time with a corner kick. And they're starting to make some progress deep in the New Hampshire zone. 19 minutes and 2 seconds to go here in the first half.
Kick by number 7, Pedro DeBrito.
Left puts it right in front of the goal, and it just goes behind the goal.
The goal kick.
And New Hampshire left.
He entering chat lineup to number 12, Jamie Walter.
Re-entering the game. And we'll see who's going to be taking a seat on the bench.
Walters replaces
Tim Linehan. No, let's look at the box.
Number 13, Chris Rydell.
Has hails from Connecticut. And I just passed an interesting statistic. The Huskies have averaged 4,600 fans for every home contest. So this is probably the worst attendance. Could be attributed to a school day or the team that the Huskies are playing. New Hampshire with the ball deep in the Huskies zone, but the Huskies strip the ball away, get the ball to Tony Pierce. And the Connecticut offense will start up. Ball on the left side to Eric Myron. Gets it back to Pierce again. It's even like what we saw. The Huskies are going to try to go the other way. John Brubacher came to check into the game for the Huskies. Again, this time Pierce with a mighty left-footed boot. All the way down midfield, a couple of New Hampshire players calling for it off the head of Mike Colburn, but he sends it the wrong way, and Elvis Comrie will have control of the ball. Comrie sends the ball off his chest. Back to Jimmy Dorsanio. Dorsanio to give it go. Back to Comrie, and Comrie deep on the left side in New Hampshire zone. Comrie trying to get around number 11, John Forster, kicks the ball into Forster.
by number 11,
Elvis Comrie. And Comrie quickly gets the ball into Eric Byron. Byron sends a centering pass out front for Jimmy Lyman. Lyman gets around one New Hampshire player, sends a boot shot. Lyman scores a beautiful ball game on a pass from Eric Byron. A beautiful play as Lyman had it all the way right in front of the goal. No New Hampshire player happened to pick him up. He got around number 19, Eric Chinberg, and just sent the ball to the lower left-handed corner of the net. 17 minutes and 32 seconds to go here in the first half. And the Huskies have broken the ice. They lead the game by the score of 1-0. Lyman on the air, if we check this out, at the 24-28 mark, has come up with his third goal of the season. He already has 4 assists, so 10 points on the air for him. And we're going to see Eric Byron probably pick up one of the assists. That would be his first of the season. And I believe Elvis Comrie might even be credited with the other one. Let's see what the official score is going to say. Now New Hampshire takes the kickoff, and controlling the ball is Tim Linigan. They're going to have to play some catch-up ball. They're not known for the offensive prowess, and their defense is supposed to hold, but that time it didn't look too well as the Huskies went through it like Swiss cheese. This is Elvis Comrie.
This ball is third of the season.
Back the other way, deep enough.
By number 3, Jim Lyman.
Carlos with him step for step. Linehan tries to get around them.
By number 10, Eric Byron. And number 11, Elvis Comrie. At 27 minutes, 28 seconds of the first half. Byron and Comrie at 28.
I believe his 5th point of the season. Shot or a pass in front of the goal, headed around by Carlos in the New Hampshire play. The ball goes out of bounds. You're going to call it last touch by Carlos. It'll be a corner kick on the right side.
Corner kick.
Scott Ryder. The Rangers had a lot of corner kicks here in the first half, but they have not been able to connect because the Husky defense has been holding so far. Pierce not really tested that much, playing himself a fine ball game nonetheless. The Husky defense really keeping New Hampshire away from the goal, except for a few moments there in the middle of the first half. Ryder sets up, left-footed boot, sends a low liner in front, headed up by Husky as he heads it out of the zone. I think they have a whistle on the play, and I believe they're going to call a jumping in ball on New Hampshire. Whatever it is, it's on New Hampshire. And we're going to have
New Hampshire foul, Connecticut direct
kick, and taking will be Charlie McSpirit. This afternoon we have an AL playoff game. The Kansas City Royals, the Oakland A's are playing the New York Yankees, and after 3 innings, the score is 1-1. The Yankees are throwing Rudy May, and the Oakland A's are throwing Steve McCaddy. Last night, the Yankees defeated Oakland by the score of 3-1. Had 3 first-inning runs, scored on a double by Greg Nettles. So Oakland A's trying to trailing the series 1-0, trying to come back after today's game in New York. They'll be playing 3 in Oakland. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Eric Byron. He's in the New Hampshire zone. Pass on the left side to Jim Dorsanio. Dorsanio having some problems getting around Scott True. Looking to pass it back to John Brubacher, but coming up with the steal is Mike Pilot. And Pilot sends it right to the foot of Brubacher. Settles up, centers a pass, looking for, I believe, Sean Sullivan. Headed up in the air and a save made by Guy Arden. And that was not Sean Sullivan, but instead it was number 25. No Moon. I believe that was 25 No Moon. This is Carlos controlling the ball. Carlos kicking the ball around, trying to get in the middle, but it's a strip easily by Scott Ryder. Ryder has the ball stolen by Elvis Comrie. Now Comrie and a New Hampshire player fall on the ground, and Comrie's going to be called for a push.
That's a Connecticut trip.
Or make that a trip. And so
New Hampshire direct.
Your team's going to have a direct kick. 14 minutes and 53 seconds to go here in the first half. And New Hampshire controlling the ball. And we'll see what they do. Eric Byron has the ball for Connecticut. He kicks it over the touchline.
Throw in.
New Hampshire throwing it right in front of the New Hampshire bench. And taking it will be number 5, Scott True. True sends it deep into the Connecticut zone for Mason. Mason pull off.
It's the Connecticut number 4 Maloney and number 9, Graziano Cornolo.
Graziano Cornolo re-entering the game as well as
Jim Costanio and Eric Byron.
The game is very similar. Chris Rydell and Scott Ryder.
And re-entering the game for New Hampshire, number 13, Chris Rydell.
The Wildcats, Jim Costanio and Eric Byron take
replacing
the bench.
Number 12, Jamie Walters.
Ryder will be taking the third kick. Oakland leads the ball. Oakland leads the game at the end of the 4th inning at 3-2. But the Yankees have the bases loaded with 1 out. And we'll try to keep you involved with that. It's bottom of the 4th inning. We'll see exactly what we can do. We have a radio with us, and we're trying to keep track of that game as well as this game. Huskies come away with that defensive play by New Hampshire with no problem at all. They steal the ball, bring it back the other way. This is Sean Sullivan racing for the ball with the touchline. The ball was out of bounds last.
UCONN throwing by number 13, Ed Lynch.
And it's going to be Connecticut's ball. Right now, there's a fight on the field. Graziano Cornolo comes away with the ball. Cornolo coming down, looking to send the ball into the penalty area, but it's cleared away by Kevin Rush.
Wildcat hold.
And the Wildcats call for
UCONN
hold on the
direct.
play. So University of Connecticut will have a direct kick on the play. 13 minutes, 5 seconds to go here in the first half. Harold Darak along with Mark Boudreau. And we're going to have to apologize. This game is being brought to you right through the phone. Right now, it's shot by Graziano Cornolo, but a nice save to the goalie. Still one play. This is Sullivan's shot. Sullivan on the play from Graziano Cornolo as he kept it the rebound pass right from Sullivan. And Sean Sullivan comes up with his first varsity goal for the Connecticut Huskies. A brilliant save by the goalie, George Gallarditz, but he couldn't keep control of it. And it came right back to Graziano Cornolo, and Sean Sullivan put the ball in the net with 12 minutes and 53 seconds to go here in the first half. And I believe we're going to have a assist given to Graziano Cornolo. The play was off a direct kick, and Cornolo took a shot on goal. Sean Sullivan, and Sullivan put the
line number 2, Sean Sullivan.
lead by the score of 2-0.
By number 9, Graziano Cornolo.
Brubacher over to Charlie McSpear.
Time of the goal, 32 minutes, 7 seconds of the first half.
Roger Vernon.
Sullivan's headers on Cornolo at 32-07.
Ball goes out of bounds last two.
UCONN throwing by number 6, Carlos.
And it's going to be a throw in for the Connecticut Huskies. Connecticut controlling. This is Elvis Comrie. Comrie trying to get around two New Hampshire players deep in the New Hampshire zone. He slips on the ball, but finally gets free control of it, but it's kicked away by Kevin Russ. And with a run for it, Carlos mulls over Barbara Mason. And it's going to be a New Hampshire direct kick.
New Hampshire direct.
New Hampshire with a direct kick, and coming up with it will be Scott True. True sends it downfield, but stolen by Carlos. And Carlos sets upfield for Elvis Comrie, and the Huskies will start it up on offense. Comrie passed the left side to Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo upended by Scott True. Let's see, I believe a tripping call. Now we have a whistle to play. Let's see what they're going to call it. They're sending the ball back. They're going to call it against them. The crowd, that's what Cornolo was upended, but they're going to say Cornolo tripped Scott True as he was going for the ball. A little bit of dissension on that play, but nonetheless, New Hampshire will have the direct kick. Coach Maroney not really arguing. There's a 2-0 lead. With 11 and a half minutes to go here in the first half. Connecticut 2, New Hampshire 0. People there along with Mark Boudreau. There should have been a handball call there as he was settled down by Mike Pilot. No call. And Carlos with him step by step. But Carlos going to be called for the push behind. And another direct kick again by New Hampshire. Two Wildcats getting set to check back into the game. Ron Fancy.
Connecticut foul, New Hampshire direct.
They're going to have to wait till the ball goes over the goal line or there is an injury. And New Hampshire now controlling the ball on a direct kick. And let's see what they can do with it. Sending the ball into play. Number 11, John Forster, right in front of the Husky goal. Is a shot up in the air, but a nice play. He put it right over the goal. Oh, right over the crossbar.
Number 4, Ron Fancy, and number 12, Junior Walters.
Well, Pierce stuck with the
And
ball.
opening the game for Connecticut, number 2,
Crossbar. He
Tim
played a
Mason.
lot better than he did against Stanford.
He replaced number 15 at play.
He's going out making the plays, and he's being a very aggressive goalie here.
Leading the for New Hampshire, number 6, Bob Mason, and number 7, Tim Finnegan.
Hurt shoulder. But New Hampshire going to come up with the corner kick, quickly putting the ball in play. Scott Ryder now it's going to be whistled dead again as the Huskies weren't ready for the play. And again, they're going to send that ball back in with the corner kick. And again, Ryder will take it. Ryder's right next to Mike Pilot. Let's see what kind of play New Hampshire's going to come up with. Clock running, 10 minutes and 5 seconds going in their first half. Ryder sends it in front of the goal, headed up by one Husky player, settled right down to the chest of Pilot. Shot on goal, wide to the left. It's like Pilot.
Into the Husky lineup for the first time, number 19, Kieran Coffey.
Call is made.
He replaces
referees.
Don Sullivan.
Sullivan, I think, is seen on the bench, and Kieran Coffey. Technically, Sullivan getting a very big round of applause. It's putting in his first Husky goal. His first of the season, first as a career as a Connecticut Husky. And right now, New Hampshire controlling the ball. Time below 10 minutes left. 9:26 to go here in the first half. At halftime, we're going to go back to the station for news. And anything else they can come up with. And then we'll come back and give you the second half of the broadcast. Right now, New Hampshire controlling the ball. This is Scott Ryder. Ryder passing over, gets the ball stolen by Eric Chinberg. And New Hampshire comes back and sending it deep into the Husky zone, where Charlie McSpear comes up with it. McSpear passing the right side over to Kieran Coffey. Coffey up to a teammate, but there was a push on the play. And the Huskies are going to have a direct
Pushing off on the Wildcats, Connecticut direct.
And Connecticut up direct kick will be taken by Charlie McSpirit. Connecticut 2, New Hampshire 0. Harold Darak along with Mark Boudreau. 8 minutes and 45 seconds to go here in the first half. And the Huskies scoring their 2 goals. One by Jim Lyman at the 24-28 mark, assisted by Eric Myron and Elvis Conley. The other one by Sean Sullivan, assisted by Graziano Cornolo. And for Cornolo, that was his second assist of the year for his 14th point. Carlos the ball, left side. Passing it over to Thukas Stavronidis. We checked in the game during that last time out. Stavronidis and a pass left side over to Cornolo. Cornolo up to Carlos. Shot on goal right in front by Comrie. Comrie gets a foot on it, but he couldn't put the ball near the net as the Huskies kept control, but they couldn't save it before it went over the goal line. And we're going to see foul kicks. And now we have another score. It's going to be the Yankees leading the A's 5-3 in the bottom of the 4th inning. And we'll try to keep you up to date on those scores as we get them. 7 minutes, 57 seconds to go here in the first half. And the goal kick by New Hampshire, taking it is John Forster. Forster sends it up around midfield. We have a whistle on the play and a hold by Connecticut. So another Connecticut foul. New Hampshire. The refereeing in this game. Last time we have referee Arthur Ham along with Gerald Karp and Dave Bowen as the linesmen. So we do have 3 men in the striped jerseys. Last game we only had 2, and it did show as the refereeing was a little bit down as some of the games we saw in the beginning of the season. Now ball loose in front of the Connecticut goal, but coming away and clearing it nicely. Charlie McSpirit almost shot on goal by Ron Fancy. McSpirit gets around the Cornolo. Cornolo is cut down on the play, and he is holding his right leg. And coming up with it is Billy Maroney. Maroney passed the right side over Roger Vernes. Vernes contributing the ball for Connecticut, trying to send the pass to Kieran Coffey. Stolen by New Hampshire, but brought all the way back to Maisley. And we are told Lou Piniella with a 3-run homer has now made the score the Yankees 8 and the Oakland A's 3. And let me tell you, the fireworks are really going as though we're getting them off the wire here. And it's too bad I'm not a Yankee fan. Right now, Connecticut with the ball right in front of the goal, but coming up to make the save is Gallardes. And Connecticut not put the ball in the net, but New Hampshire will have the ball. And they're taking the kick and goal with George Gallardes. This is right on midfield, but the Tim Maisley comes up. Maisley sends it all the way over to Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo saves it before it goes over the line. This seems to be okay. He was tipped up for it. Looked like he got spiked on the play. Pass right in front for Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit on the right side looking for Kieran Coffey. Gallardes comes on, but he doesn't get the ball. Now he gets it. Although it's thrown back by Coffey, Gallardes lost the ball momentarily. He couldn't gather the ball back in. And so he stops another Husky scoring attempt. And we got the official scoring for today's game, or official attendance for today's game, 1,400 fans. So it's right around my prediction. But it doesn't look like it's anything, and they're not very vocal today, as they haven't been throughout the whole season. Right now, tripping play. Carlos got tripped. There's no call on that one. They're just going to call the throw as the ball went out of bounds. And McSpirit now going to call for
Connecticut obstruction. New Hampshire indirect.
So an indirect kick right in front of your own bench. Clock running down 5 minutes and 39 seconds. Remaining here in the first half. Taking the indirect kick will be Scott True. As we said at halftime, we're going to go back to the station for any news or music, whichever they choose to do. They have to put the news wrap up. Now taking the kick is Scott True. True sends it into the penalty area, but it's cleared away by John Brubacher on a bicycle kick. And True tries to keep it in the area, but he kicks it the wrong way, and Elvis Conley has a break on in the right around middle of the field. Conley with the break, trying to pass on the left side, gets over Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo looking for Carlos. Carlos gets to him, and Carlos gets it back to Elvis Conley. But the Huskies attempt to slow down just momentarily. Conley with the ball on the left side, right side of the penalty area, trying to get around.
5 minutes in the first half. 5 minutes.
Bounds. Last touch by Malik.
Connecticut, number 3, still line on number 7, Pedro DeBrito, and re-entering the game for New Hampshire, number 6, Bob Remason, number 7, Tim Linehan, and number 10, Jeff Browning. Connecticut penalty to be taken by number 11, Elvis Comrie.
Hanford makes a few substitutions. We're going to have a corner kick, taken by Comrie.
A's attendance, 3,000.
For Carlos. Carlos takes a shot towards the middle. It's cleared by New Hampshire. Lyman swings and misses in a shot. And he goes all the way back to Tim Maisley, and Maisley gets it over to Brubacher, and the Huskies are going to have to bring it back into play again. Brubacher, right side to Billy Maroney. Maroney tripped up on the play, no whistle, and they're going to call a corner kick for the Connecticut Huskies or a goal kick. That's going to be a corner kick. Last touch by New Hampshire. Again, the Connecticut Huskies have a corner kick this time on the right side, and this time Pedro DeBrito will be taking it. DeBrito sending the liner in front, headed up by Bill Maroney, also headed away by Scott Reiser, settled to the foot of Jim Lyman. Lyman swings and just chips the ball, and he goes right to the foot of Tim Linehan, and the Wildcats control it. They're coming back on the right side. Linehan trying to send a pass up for Jeff Brown. He sends it goes the Connecticut bench, and Maisley takes the throw in. Maisley gets in the line. Lyman trying to quickly send the ball into play. Sends a pass on the right side for Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito kicks the ball up in the air. Centering pass for Elvis Comrie. Comrie right in front of the goal. Can't make the play. And Kevin Rush comes away with the ball and sends it deep downfield where John Brubaker is. Brubaker controlling for the Huskies. 3 minutes and 29 seconds to go here in the first half. Connecticut 2, New Hampshire 0. Pass on the left side to Timmy Maisley. Maisley dribbles the ball around, gets it up to Jimmy Lyman. Lyman's tripped on the play. He's tripped by Ryder. There's going to be a direct kick for the Huskies, and I believe taking it is going to be Jimmy Lyman. Lyman trying to wait for the Huskies to sit up. They're about 15 yards right outside the penalty area, right in front of the goal, and he sends a chipper in front, cleared away by New Hampshire, settled down on the foot of Mike Colburn, almost stolen by the Huskies, but Colburn still controls the ball, and he passes on the right side for Chris Rydell. Rydell loses it. Kieran Coffey comes up with a pass on the left side, looking for Cornello or DeBrito. Neither of them can make the play, and it's cleared out of bounds by
UCONN thrown by number 2, Tim Maisley.
Thrown for the Huskies. Tim Maisley's going to take it. 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the first half. McSpirit gathers the ball in around midfield. Pass on the right side to John Brubaker. Brubaker right around the midfield circle. Pass into the right side for, I believe, Eddie Lynch. Don't make that Kieran Coffey. Coffey give and go with Elvis Comrie, and Coffey has it on the right side. He sends it back to Comrie. Comrie right around the middle of the field, trying to get around one New Hampshire player. Does so very nicely. A nice move. He's now still going. Pass to Billy Maroney. Maroney settles it down right around one player, and he shoots it. And it goes high. Too high. High lob. We're over everything. And the ball goes out of bounds. It's going to be a goal kick for the New Hampshire team.
New Hampshire goal kick.
Looks like Carlos Almeida might be warming up. He might see some action today. He's a freshman out of Danbury, Connecticut, just brought up by the JVs. Quarter
staff. 2 minutes.
Goal kick by New Hampshire, but the Huskies headed and keeping into the New Hampshire territory. Less than 2 minutes to go here in the first half. William Maroney looking to pass to DeBrito. It's knocked away, but Cornello keeps control of it. Cornello now sends a high lobber over everything as he shot that ball a little bit too early. He was taken down to the play. No whistle. He was going to have a goal kick with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go here in the first half. Goal kick will be taken by the goalie, George Gallardis. And it's taken right around towards midfield. New Hampshire controlling the ball, trying to move to the Huskies zone. But it's now between a couple players, and the Huskies come away with it. This is Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit controlling the ball, sends it up to Kieran Coffey. Coffey kicks the ball up, and the New Hampshire player's foot out of bounds.
UCONN throw by number 2, Tim Maisley.
On the far sideline. Ball goes over to Carlos. Carlos sends a pass on the left side for Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito has the ball, kicks it around. Not trying to get the one, but he's backpedaling on the play. Pass on the left side to Billy Maroney. Maroney's playing a lot more offense today than he has in the past. Staying right deep in the New Hampshire zone. Tries to kick a centering pass in for Elvis Comrie. Headed away by New Hampshire. Settled down on the foot of Charlie McSpirit. 46 seconds to go here in the first half. Connecticut up by 2. This is Lyman with the ball on the right side. Lyman trying to get around Linehan, does so on the right side, but Linehan finally gets the last say on him as he kicks the ball over the goal. And Connecticut with the corner kick.
Good corner kick.
54 seconds.
Taken by number 3, Jim Lyman.
Lyman with the corner kick. Sends a lob right in front. Look, there's a few Huskies coming up with it. Number 11, Forster, not far enough. Huskies keep in front of the goal, but it's cleared away by New Hampshire. And it's kept in by Billy Maroney. Maroney sends a high lobber in front, headed down by Mike Pilot, still loose in front. And this time New Hampshire gets the better of the ball, but he comes right to the foot of Billy Maroney. Maroney has the ball stolen by Ryder. 13 seconds to go. Ryder's still controlling. He's getting across to the Connecticut. You can hear the countdown in the background. Easily trying to get the ball back into play.
5,
the ball's just bounding around loosely around.
3, 2.
And I believe that's what we're going to have. Halftime here at Gardner Dow Field. So that's what
the end of the first half, ladies and gentlemen.
Listening to
University of
WHUS
Connecticut,
Storrs,
University of New Hampshire, nothing.
And we'd like to tell you the halftime score here.
Halftime activities. The Mansfield Junior Soccer Association, sponsored by UConn, is now in its 11th season.
New Hampshire's biggest problem has been on the offense. Even though last game they defeated Maine by the score of 3-0, that was their highest scoring game. They started the season with wins over BU and Bowdoin 1-0, then lost 2 shutouts in a row to Boston College and Providence. They lost to Keene State 3-1, South Maine 2-1, and Plymouth State 2-0 before they beat Maine. So in total amount of goals, they have 7 goals on the season in 8 games, which is not a very good output. Last year they were shut out 10 consecutive times. They only scored in 4 games. And for the whole season, I believe they only had 7 goals, so they've equaled their output for the whole last part of the season. The Huskies, meanwhile, have been in a goal drought, but today they have scored 2, which is their most they've scored in a few games since the Bridgeport game when they had 9. They've only scored 4 goals in their last 5 games. They're number 2 in the country. They move up a notch, and San Francisco lost to San Diego State. And good luck for the Huskies moving up one. San Francisco went out of the polls completely, and people are wondering why. The impression I was under is that in the country there are 8 divisions, and each division votes for the top 2 teams they feel is in the country or is in their division. And in the Western Division, they have 3 top teams: San Jose State with a record of 8-1-1, San Diego State with a record of 9-2, and Santa Clara 7-1-1. And those are the 3 teams that we see in the men's top 20 polls. There's not any. San Francisco is not there via that loss to San Diego State, and that's about where we stand. In the top 20, it's Indiana, Connecticut, Long Island University. If you remember, we played them and lost to them in the finals of the indoor tournament. And we beat them in an exhibition game in the outdoor tournament. Number 4, Clemson, Eastern Illinois. Number 5, Philly Textile. We play later on in the season with a record of 7-1-1 is number 6. San Jose State, Penn State, who we play on that same trip, is number 8. Columbia, number 9, and St. Louis, who we've already played with a record of 7-2-3, is number 10. But that's about it for the top 10. As I was notified, San Francisco is number 5 in the West, so I'm really interested in seeing who number 4 would be in the West right over there. But San Francisco, who really defeated the Huskies in this, well, it wasn't a surprising game since it was a home game, but the Huskies had the lead. The last bit of news we got in the AL playoff series, it was the Yankees 8 and the Oakland A's 3 via Lou Piniella 3-run homer. We're about set to get underway here in the second half. The Huskies take the kickoff, and they have control of the ball. I believe the same starters are going to be for both teams. Right now controlling it is number 13, Jamie Walters. Walters kicks it deep into the Husky zone, but the Huskies recover the ball. And Tony Pierce takes control of it as goalie for UConn, and Pierce gives it over to Eric Myron. And Myron starts to play up for UConn. Myron kicks the ball a little bit out in front of him too far, kicks it over to touchline. Myron has 1 assist on the year so far. And UNH has a throw-in, and taking it is Bob Remason. Remason controlling the ball, but he kicks the ball into the penalty area. Charlie McSpirit takes the steal. McSpirit gets the ball out to Elvis Carmen. The Huskies just seem to be playing with the New Hampshire Wildcats, controlling the ball, but in New Hampshire zone. Scott True steals the ball, sends it back deep into the Connecticut zone. John Brubaker having some problems controlling the ball, finally regains possession of it as he's being played very tightly with Mike Pilot. And the ball goes out of bounds. We'll see who they're going to rule the last touch off of. I believe they're going to say they're going to call it a foul on New Hampshire. Before it went out of bounds, and the Huskies have a direct kick, and they're going to start it up on the right side. This is Carlos sending a pass up for Jimmy Lyman. Lyman having some problems getting around Scott Ryther, sends it over back to Carlos, and Carlos sends it up to Tim Maisley. Maisley pass to Jimmy Lyman. The Huskies just passing the ball, one-touch passing, and moving the ball up the field. Now a long pass by Jimmy Lyman for Graziano Cornello, intercepted by Jim Sutton. Sutton did not start the first half. The ball goes all the way back to the goalkeeper, George Gaiarditz. Gaiarditz on the season playing some pretty good ball. After 6 games, we had statistics. He allowed 1.08 goals against. He had an average of 6 saves a game. And 33 saves in those 6 games. But, of course, he's even had a shutout versus Maine. And I'm not sure if he was the goalkeeper of record versus Plymouth State. Connecticut controlling the ball. This is Graziano Cornello passing the right side for a breaking Carlos. Carlos has it in the penalty area, passing the right side to Comrie, but it goes a little bit too far, and Comrie has the race for the ball. Comrie now has it outside the penalty area, chips the ball in front. Looking for it is Graziano Cornello, but he's not there to make the play. New Hampshire gets it over to Eric Byron. Shot on goal off a New Hampshire player. Brubaker keeps it in the play, sends it back into the penalty area, but no one's there. It goes over the goal line. And the Wildcats are going to have a goal kick with 42 minutes and 47 seconds remaining here in the game. Connecticut 2 at New Hampshire 0. Harold Darak along with Mark Boudreau. Mark says hi to all his fans. We're going over the phone line, so we'd have to pass the phone back and forth for Mark to say anything, and I just haven't given Mark the phone. That's all. That's been the whole thing throughout the game. Controlling the ball, Chris Rydell. Rydell sending a pass up for a teammate, but stolen by the Huskies and brought back the other way. Comrie over to Carlos. Carlos on the break, trying to get around Scott Ryther. Ryther bumps Carlos. No call. Carlos still has it in the corner. Sends it up for Elvis Comrie. Comrie back to John Brubaker, and Brubaker has to retreat to get the ball, get it around Bob Remason, and the Huskies are going to start it up. All the way up to the midfield line. Billy Maroney now controlling the ball. Maroney trying to pass it over to Jimmy Lyman, but he goes right by Lyman, and the Huskies keep control of the ball. Carlos has it, tries to send it back to John Brubaker. Brubaker playing back, loses it to Remason. Remason gives it over to Tim Linehan, and Linehan was leading the break for New Hampshire until Jimmy Lyman just came up and easily took the ball away from him. Lyman trying to bring the ball back the other way, gets it over to Eric Myron. Myron controlling it around the far sideline. Myron sends it up to Jimmy Lyman, or Lyman trying to get control of the ball, stolen away by Ryder, but right to the foot of Myron, and the Huskies keep control of it. Myron, left side over to Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito coming, streaking towards the middle, trying to do something with it. Shot on goal wide to the left. And we're going to have a substitute. Jamie Walters re-entering the game for New Hampshire, checking out Bob Remason. Jamie Walters for Bob Remason. Remason is a sophomore out of Haverhill, Massachusetts. But a goal kick it's going to be for the New Hampshire team. And off in the distance, we see the University of Connecticut football team practicing. They're going to have a game this Saturday. Airtime 125, Tony Savino and Jeff Dobeck versus the Crusaders of the Holy Cross. That game will be a band day game, so maybe you want to go out and check and bring out your radio while you're there so you can hear the bands and hear WHUS bringing the game. The Huskies with a record of 2-3 versus Holy Cross with, I believe, a record of 3-2. And the Huskies losing their last 3 games in the fourth period. All very close games, but heartbreakers. Very much unlike the games last year when the Huskies won in the final period, or the final 2 minutes of a few games. We'll see if they can break that streak versus Holy Cross. DeBrito with a corner kick as the Huskies brought the ball all the way back the other way. But New Hampshire managed to kick the ball out of bounds, so DeBrito will set up the corner kick. 40 minutes, 23 seconds to go. DeBrito taking his time, lobbing one in front, looking for headers. A few Huskies. Cornolo got a head on it, goes all the way out to Eric Myron. Myron settles it off his head, shot going for Lyman, but stepping in between the ball and Lyman is Jamie Walters. And Walters tries to bring it the other way, but it's quickly kicked out of bounds by Tim Maisley. And a Wildcat throw-in on the far sideline. Quickly, Walters has it, but he doesn't get to it fast enough as a quick steal comes up by number 5, Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit sends it all the way back to Renahan. Renahan hasn't had to make too many saves today, but he's played a lot better than he did against Stanford when he had a little bit of problems out on the West Coast. But I'm sure he'd like to forget all about those. He has another chance since Jimmy Renahan got injured. And I'm sure he's not happy that Jimmy got injured, but he's still happy to get the chance to start playing in the goal for the Connecticut Huskies. Ball kicked out of bounds. Last touch by New Hampshire. Throwing for the Huskies right in front of their own bench. Brubaker sends a nice throw into Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito kicks it off the hand of Scott Ryder, but the ball goes out of bounds. So instead of a handball call, we're just going to have a regular throw-in. Maroney with the throw-in. Maroney into Elvis Comrie. Comrie settles it in front, looking for Jimmy Lyman. Lyman gets to go by for Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit sends it into the penalty area, kicked away by New Hampshire. Now Lyman has it. Lyman trying to get around Ryder, having some problems, and he's battling the ball with Ryder, but Ryder takes it away and brings it back the other way. Ryder sending it up to teammate Tim Linehan. Linehan can't control for very long. Maroney gets a foot on it, gets it back to Carlos, and Carlos gets it over to John Brubaker. Huskies bring it back the other way. This is Carlos up to Elvis Comrie. Comrie controlling the ball, gets it back to Carlos. Carlos give it go. Right side over to Graciano Cornolo, and Cornolo has a break. Cornolo outside the penalty area. Centering pass for DeBrito. DeBrito has the ball loose in front, and coming up to quickly make the save is George Gallarditz. But if DeBrito got that ball, he could have put it in the net. And we have another up-to-date information on the AL playoff game. At the bottom of the 5th, it's still the Yankees 8 and the Oakland A's 3, and the A's are going to have to make a break, or they're going to go back to the West Coast down 2-0 in their home park. Charlie McSpirit chips the ball into the penalty area. Graciano Cornolo racing forward with the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper, George Gallarditz, comes out and makes the play just before going over the penalty line. He just kept himself from going over the penalty area. If he did, it would have been a violation. And the Huskies would have had a nice set of circumstances there. Now New Hampshire playing with the ball deep in their own zone. Ball goes all the way back to the goalkeeper, Gallarditz. And he's going to take a kick and sends a low liner right around midfield. Billy Maroney can't control the ball. Going for it is Jamie Walters with the Connecticut Husky. And coming away with it is Timmy Maisley. Maisley over to Lyman. Lyman sending it up into the New Hampshire zone for Graciano Cornolo. Cornolo sending it back into the New Hampshire zone for the Connecticut team, and they're going to start up the offense back there. This is Jimmy Lyman. Lyman up to DeBrito. DeBrito in the Wildcat zone. DeBrito trying to get around one New Hampshire player. I believe it's Mike Colburn, the captain. As Colburn has been playing DeBrito man for man for pretty much the whole game, but the Huskies are a lot quicker than this New Hampshire team. New Hampshire is supposedly known for their defense, but the Huskies got 2 goals in on them. One by Jimmy Lyman at the 24-28 mark, the other one by Sean Sullivan at the 32-07 mark. This is Carlos deep in the New Hampshire zone. Carlos trying to get around 2 New Hampshire players. Ball kicked out of bounds, and they're going to call a corner kick. Last touch off the foot of Jimmy Sutton. the fullback from West Springfield, Massachusetts.
Number 10, Jeff Growney.
Growney and Forster re-enter the game for New Hampshire. A few of their players take a break. I believe it's Eric Chinberg.
And number 19, Eric Chinberg.
And another player, I cannot see his number, but Elvis Comrey's going to have the corner kick on the left side.
The corner kick will be taken by number 11, Elvis Comrie.
Comrie sends a low liner in front. It's punched away by Galesburg, but it's still loose in front, and he finally takes the ball away. Excuse me, that's Gallardes. I don't know where I got that one from. But Gallardes almost had the ball loose in front. It could have been headed in by a Husky, but he quickly gained control of the ball. The other player going out of the game is Jim Sutton. Gallardes controlling the ball and now boots it away. Right down midfield. That's a long boot past the midfield line. Charlie McSpirit has to race for it. He gets a head on it. Can't head it away far enough as Jamie Walters comes up with it. Walters controlling it for the Wildcats. Walters waiting for his offense to come back with him if they do have an offense. They haven't scored many goals this year, only 7 in 8 games. Walters now keep controlling the ball. Charlie McSpirit playing in man-to-man. Walters still dribbling the ball around, trying to get around McSpirit, trying to send her a pass, but McSpirit beats him to the ball, kicks it out of bounds over the goal line. And we're going to have a corner kick for the New Hampshire Wildcats with just about, right now, 36 minutes exactly to go here in the contest. After this game, the Huskies will be playing Massachusetts. That'll be a home game next Tuesday. We'll be airing that on the Sound Alternative, as we will be every other University of Connecticut soccer game throughout the rest of the season. So they're getting ready to take the corner kick. I believe Ryther's going to take it. Ryther sends a lobber in front, and it's going to go right past everybody, but Jimmy Lyman's going to come up with it for the Connecticut team. Lyman coming up on the right side, almost has the ball stolen by a Wildcat player, but Lyman's going to get called for the push. And it's going to be a direct kick right outside the Connecticut penalty area. But no New Hampshire players looking to take it. Finally, Ryther comes over and gets it. After Tuesday's Massachusetts game, the Huskies travel to Providence to face Brown in a Friday night game. Airtime 7:25, and they play St. John's and Storrs. That next Sunday, October 25th, that is at airtime 12:55 on the Sound Alternative. The first time they're playing St. John's in soccer. Maybe they can get back to them for some of the beatings they've taken in basketball and all the other Big East sports. Here's John Brubaker, loose ball in front. Tony Pierce makes a save. Ball still loose, and finally the Huskies get the ball and clear it away. Tim Maisley all the way up to Elvis Comrie. Comrie now running down with the ball. He's leading a break, trying to send it up for Pedro DeBrito, but it's kicked from behind by a Wildcat. And coming up with his Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo controlling it for the Huskies. Gets around one Wildcat. Shot on goal. He's way too far out. Kicks it off the back of a New Hampshire player. And Cornolo, who was known for shooting that ball just a little bit too early, does the error again. As the Huskies come away with no goal, but they still keep control of the ball, and they're battling for it right in front of the New Hampshire bench. We have a whistle, and New Hampshire's called for a hold, and Connecticut will have a direct kick. Not many substitutes for the Connecticut Huskies here in the second half so far. I think they're trying to see if the offense could gain a little more confidence, score some more goals. Jimmy Lyman's going to be taking the direct kick right in front of the bench. Lobs one in front, looking for a few Huskies, but I believe we're going to have an offsides violation, and that we do.
UConn is offside on the play.
As we got the offsides trap by New Hampshire. Indirect kick for New Hampshire. 33 minutes, 57 seconds remaining here in the game. I'd like to thank Al Conner, who is our technical director, and we'd like to remind you, after the game, Al Conner is going to be playing music and giving away free tickets for the Shabu Inn this weekend. So stay tuned and we get a free call in, and you could possibly gain yourself some tickets for the weekend. Pedro DeBrito controlling the ball for the Huskies. Ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Huskies. And we're going to have a throw-in by the Wildcats. This is Tim Maisley keeping control of the ball on the steal. Maisley kicks it back to McSpirit. McSpirit back to Maisley, and the Huskies control it, as they've done throughout most of the second half and as they've done throughout most of the first half. And this is Jimmy Lyman sending it deep into the area for Elvis Comrie. Comrie controlling the ball right around the penalty area. Comrie trying to get around one New Hampshire player, sets the ball up, kicks one far for his teammate Pedro DeBrito. Goes past everybody. Billy Maroney gathers it, takes a weak shot on goal, but Graziano Cornolo comes up with it. Cornolo back to Maroney. Maroney with a shot, and it's over everything. So Maroney with a better shot the second time than the first, but it went clear over everything. This season, Maroney has 3 goals, and all 3 of them happen to be game-winning goals. So he comes up with a very clutch goal when he has to. One versus St. Louis, I believe the other one versus Indiana. And the last game versus North Carolina. Huskies controlling the ball. Carlos settles the ball down on his foot, chips one up for teammate Elvis Comrie. Comrie trying to get around one New Hampshire defender. That's Mike Colburn. Comrie steals it right back. Going in for the play. He passes over to a teammate, Jimmy Lyman. Lyman is upended on the steal. No call. Is going for the ball was Jeff Growney, and Lyman just took a spill. But they're going to call a push on the Huskies on a later turn of events. And it's going to be a New Hampshire direct kick. Make that a hold. New Hampshire direct kick, 32-13 to go here in the contest. Harold Darak, along with a very silent Mark Boudreau, who's ailing with a bit of a cold so far, and he's not ripped the phone out of my hands. And if this broadcast does not seem as good of a quality as we usually have, it's because we are going directly through a phone. We're having some problems with our equipment, and we're going to have to give it to our chief engineer, Scott Miller, to do a little fix-up job for us. And hopefully by next game we'll have everything set the way we want it. This is Charlie McSpirit streaking downfield, coming around over midfield line. McSpirit passing over to Elvis Comrie. Give and go back to McSpirit. McSpirit trying to get the ball back, but New Hampshire strips the ball from him, and they send it back the other way. This is Jamie Walters. Walters now streaking back the other way for the Huskies. Or for the Wildcats. Huskies going to have to make the transition. Carlos comes up with the steal, and he passes it over to Eric Myron. Myron up to Charlie McSpirit. McSpirit passes all the way to right in front of the press box for Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito trying to get around Tim Linehan, and he's still controlling the ball. DeBrito goes to his right, gets around Linehan, enters the penalty area. Shot in front, blocked nicely by Mike Colburn, and goes over the touchline. And we should have a throw-in. It's going to be a corner kick as it went over the goal line. It was very close near the corner. I was not exactly sure which one he went over. John Mormon entering the game for Scott Ryther. And DeBrito with the corner kick. DeBrito chips one in front. Looking for it is Comrie. A shot on goal. Gaithersburg stops it in front. It's loose, and it's cleared away by New Hampshire. Kept in by Brubacher. Ball goes to the right side. Almost taken by Walters. DeBrito has it, and there's a tripping. It could be in the penalty area. Let's see where the referee is going to call it. A trip on the play by, I believe, Kevin Rush. And if it was inside the penalty area, it'll be a penalty kick. But as we're just informed, it's outside the box, so it's going to be a direct kick right on the line, or just outside the line, and they're going to have to set up a few-man wall in front. And we'll see if Gallardis might get screened. Here's a shot by Comrie right in front of the goal. Gallardis makes the play as Comrie saw a little opening. But Gallardis saw the ball. He wasn't screened at all. And New Hampshire brings it back the other way. This is Kevin Rush. Rush from Sealbrook, New Hampshire, is a sophomore. Sends the ball upfield for teammate Walters, but the ball goes out of bounds. And it'll be a throw-in by Comrie, and Huskies quickly gain possession back of the ball. Comrie in for Graziano Cornolo. Cornolo trying to send the ball back. It's stolen by New Hampshire. Almost restolen by Jimmy Lyman, but we're going to have a handball violation on Tim Linehan. And Connecticut with a direct kick. And quickly taking is Carlos. Carlos passes on the right side to Comrie. Comrie chipping the ball in front, but it goes over everybody, over the goal line. It's going to be a goal kick for the Connecticut Huskies. Ilya Romeo getting set to enter the game. 29 minutes and 31 seconds to go.
New Hampshire direct kick.
And they're going to call it a push before it went out of bounds. I did not hear any whistle, but that's exactly what we got. And New Hampshire is going to have a direct kick. And taking it will be John Forster, one of the co-captains. Forster and Mike Colburn are the co-captains. Colburn hails from Weir, New Hampshire. Forster from Ridgewood, New Jersey. And controlling the ball right now is Colburn. Colburn trying to get around Billy Maroney. Can't do so. And Pedro DeBrito comes up and strips the ball and brings it back the other way. DeBrito having some problems now with Scott True. Whistle on the play. And they're going to call it against DeBrito, and New Hampshire is going to have the ball. Brian Stevenson now getting set to check into the game. It's a very hot game. Make that a direct kick as there was a foul by the Connecticut Huskies. Very hot day today. Indian summer is set upon us here in Storrs, Connecticut. And it's a beautiful day for a soccer game. We don't have many fans. As we said earlier, official attendance 1,400. It's probably due to the team we're playing, who's not even ranked in New England. Huskies are ranked number 1 in New England, number 2 in the nation. After Connecticut in New England, it's I believe, still Rhode Island. Rhode Island's out of the top 20 for the first time in the season. A lot of changes in the top 20.
New Hampshire trip.
Huskies play Rhode Island later on in the season. Connecticut with a direct kick on a New Hampshire trip. McSpirit sends it up front for Comrie, but it's kicked away by the goalie, George Gallardis. Right. And it's kicked all the way down. A nice play by the goalie all the way to out of bounds. So the Huskies going to throw in. And McSpirit takes it. McSpirit gets to the foot of Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito on the left side of the penalty area. Chips one in front looking for Carlos. He gets Carlos shot and it goes wide to the left as it's kicked in front. Charlie McSpirit keeps it in front. Loose in front again. Comrie shot score! It's Comrie or Cornolo. As Comrie chipped it in, Cornolo, I believe, got a foot on it. And Cornolo's going to be accredited with the goal and Comrie with the assist. As the Huskies put their third goal of the game on the board. So the ball was loose in front. Gallardis making a lot of nice saves, but no New Hampshire defensive player being able to clear the ball away. And finally, Comrie had the ball, kicked it in front, and Cornolo, I believe, put it in the net. Let's see what the official scorer says. They're saying it's just the opposite. They're saying goal by Comrie, assist by Cornolo. Let's see if they keep it at that 62-15 mark.
Scored by number 11, Elvis Connery.
And Cornello saying that he scored the goal.
Assist on the play by number 9, Graziano Cornello.
But the official says it's the other way around. Let's see exactly what we have. We're just going to wait and see if the official can settle that one down. The time is 17 minutes, 15 seconds in the second half, or 62-15 of the game. Now they're going to correct it in the background. Cornello with the goal, Elvis Comrie with the assist. And the Huskies bringing the ball back the other way. This is Carlos chipping in front for Stevenson. He goes over his head and racing forward his lineman with a New Hampshire player. But coming up with it is Mike Pilot for the New Hampshire team. And New Hampshire's controlling. Quickly stolen back by Stevenson. Stevenson sending up in front for Comrie. Comrie has control of the ball. He's in a big crowd with a few New Hampshire players. Now it's Romeo with the ball. New Hampshire has it. They clear it away. Nice clearing motion made by James Mormon. And New Hampshire having some problems on the defense. So we're going to give you that goal one more time. Graziano Cornello from Elvis Comrie, which we originally said, which was changed by the official score, by the referee, the linesman, but rechanged back by the official score. Graziano Cornello coming up with a goal. Elvis Comrie with his second assist of the afternoon. And that's the way we stand here. Connecticut 3 and New Hampshire 0. And for Cornello, that's his 7th goal, coupled with his second assist, 16 points on the year. 26 minutes, 25 seconds remaining here in the contest. And New Hampshire controls the ball. With it is Jeff Growney. Growney passing the ball on the left side for teammate John Mormon. Mormon gets it back to teammate Kevin Rush, and Rush sends it deep into the Husky zone, but the Huskies clear it away. They can't control it. They get it back into the New Hampshire zone. But Rush keeps control of it for New Hampshire. Rush passing the right side to Pilot. Pilot trying to get around. Stevenson does so with a nice pass to Scott True, and True is having some problems battling it with Jimmy Lyman. A whistle on the play. The ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by True, and Huskies are going to have a throw-in on the far sideline. Jeff Dunn from Old Saybrook, Connecticut, a freshman, getting set to check into the game for some varsity action. As the Huskies are going to start putting in some of their substitutes, I believe, with a 3-goal lead with about 25-39 to go here in the first half. The Huskies taking this game to the Wildcats. This is Billy Maroney. Maroney controlling the ball. Passing the right side for Romeo. Romeo just outside the penalty area. Chips one in front. Gaillard is with the play. As Romeo is just looking to get the ball in front of the goal. He chips just a little bit into front. Gaillard came up with the save. And he has control of the ball right now. New Hampshire coming all the way down from Hanover. And they're losing this game 3-0. They're going to see their records fall to 3-6 if this keeps up. They had a one-game winning streak with a 3-0 win over Maine. Now getting set to check in the game also is Eddie Lynch. And for New Hampshire, they have a whole slew of substitutes getting set to check in. Duncan Watson, along with Eric Chinberg, Ron Fancy, Jim Sutton, and Bob Ramason. As New Hampshire had control of the ball, so the Huskies took it on a steal. Charlie McSpirit up to Billy Maroney, and Maroney heading the UConn offense. Maroney now sending the ball into the Wildcat zone for a streaking Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito has the ball on the right side of the penalty area. Shot! Score! DeBrito from Maroney! As Gaillardas came out to cut down the angle, DeBrito saw an opening in the lower left corner, and he shot it in, and DeBrito comes up with a goal. That is his 4th goal of the season for his 17th point. Assisted by Billy Maroney. It's Connecticut 4 and New Hampshire 0. A beautiful play. Textbook college soccer as Billy Maroney was coming up around toward the midfield line, and he saw DeBrito breaking, just kicked it over to the New Hampshire defense. DeBrito outraced the New Hampshire team. Gaillard is too late to come out of the goal, and they put it in behind the net. Connecticut 4 and New Hampshire 0. So the official time of that goal is 20:21. DeBrito from Maroney, and it's 4-0.
Assisted by number 8, Bill Maroney. Time of the goal.
New Hampshire takes the kickoff, and they keep control of the ball, but this game is almost all but over for the Wildcats. The Huskies should be starting to send in some of their substitutes. Dunn and Lynch did check in. We should be able to see a lot more substitutes as the game goes on. Huskies have control of it. Tim Maisley over to Billy Maroney. Maroney passing on the left side from McSpirit. McSpirit has his thigh heavily taped up. He might have a Charlie horse or pulled a muscle. Pass into Elvis Comrie. Comrie can't keep control of the ball. The ball goes out the other way. As Connecticut does not have control of it. Instead it goes to Mike Pilot of New Hampshire. Pilot controlling the ball for the Wildcats. Dribbling the ball around midfield, not really going anywhere with it, trying to send a pass into teammate Eric Chinberg, stolen by Stevenson. Stevenson sends it up to Comrie. Comrie is, I believe, going to be called for offsides, as he was not expecting that pass at all. The pass was supposed to go to Eric Myron, But Eric Myron, Elio Romeo. When Romeo missed it completely, and right there to get the ball was Comrie, and Comrie was called for offsides as he was completely behind the New Hampshire defense. New Hampshire takes the ball on the indirect kick. They keep the ball alive, but looking forward is number 14, Jim Sutton. Sutton passed over to teammate Chinberg's shot, but Pierce is there to make the save. 23 minutes, 18 seconds to go in the game. Pierce out with the ball on the left side over to Eddie Lynch. Lynch sends it up to DeBrito. DeBrito leaves it back for Brian Stevenson, who rolls the ball back to Eddie Lynch. And the Huskies passing the ball around, trying to start up an offense, just playing with the New Hampshire Wildcats. They have a 4-0 lead. Their offense finally breaking through here against what was supposedly a very tough New Hampshire defense. This is Dunn. Dunn sends it up to Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito, trying to get around a few New Hampshire players, does so. Sends it back for Bill Maroney, but Maroney's not there, and Duncan Watson is. Watson sends the ball deep in the Connecticut zone, but Eddie Lynch is there to gather it up. Lynch up to Maroney, but pass stolen by Jim Sutton, and Sutton brings it back the other way. Sutton rolls the ball down for a New Hampshire teammate, but a little bit too far, and a throw-in by Carlos. Getting set to check in the game, Tom Thompson for his first action of the day. Give and go from Maroney to Comrie. Gets the ball back to Maroney. Maroney streaking down the right sideline. Slows the ball up to a complete stop. Maroney looking to center the ball to somebody who's going to come up for the ball. Now Maroney sets up. New Hampshire player playing him. Maroney gets around one New Hampshire player. It's Kevin Rush, but Rush comes back to make the play. Kick the ball over to touchline, or the goal line. It'll be a corner kick for the Huskies, and Thompson going to enter the game.
New Hampshire number 15, John Boisford. Thompson replaces number
John Boisford coming in for his first action of the day for New Hampshire. Comrie taking a seat as Thompson checks into the game, and Comrie getting a hand as he scored his 8th goal of the season. Now, let me check that. He got an assist for that play. Comrie's still not scoring at all today, but he did, I believe, pick up 2 assists. Here's the corner kick by DeBrito. DeBrito sends it out front for Eddie Lynch. Lynch chips one up in the middle, headed away by a New Hampshire player, still loose, but another New Hampshire player gets a head on it back to Eddie Lynch. Lynch gets around one player, sends it back to McSpirit, and the Huskies are going to start it up close to midfield. McSpirit passing the left side for Stevenson. Stevenson trying to get the ball into the attacking third of the field, cannot do so. Instead gets it back to McSpirit. McSpirit chips one in front for Maroney, but headed away by New Hampshire right to the foot of Carlos. Carlos cross field pass to Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito centers the ball right into the penalty area. Center pass for Thompson, but Thompson can't control the ball, still loose in front. Dunn with a shot, and Gallardes comes up with the save. But Dunn almost got his first varsity goal very quickly in this game. And we got another update on the AL playoff series. 9-3 Yankees. And they're in the bottom of the 6th inning, and they're batting. So Yankees increasing their lead from 8-3 to 9-3. And they look like they might be taking the second game of this playoff series unless some Billy ball is played very quickly for Oakland. Huskies getting set to check in Eric Myron again, as New Hampshire is going to check in Chris Rydell and Jeff Growney, along with number 23, Scott Ryder. Ryder had been playing most of the game, finally got a breather. Huskies controlling the ball. Thompson passing the right side for DeBrito. DeBrito trying to outrace Mike Colburn. He does so. Sends a centering pass in front for Dunn, but it's kicked away by the defense. It goes over the goal line, and the substitutes will come in. And the Huskies will have the corner kick. Roger Vernay is also checking into the game for the University of Connecticut Huskies. They're sending in all their substitutes. Most of the players on the team have seen action. I don't believe Jim Kiernan has. He might be the only Husky who's not seen action so far today. Neither has Nolan, so let me check myself on that one. Maroney taking a seat on the bench. Here's the corner kick. It's headed up in front. It goes over the goal line. And it's going to be a goal kick for New Hampshire with less than 20 minutes to go in this contest. Harold Darak along with Mark Boudreau. Connecticut 4 and New Hampshire 0. Connecticut started the game off in the first period. Jimmy Lyman at the 24-28 mark, putting in a goal from Eric Myron and Elvis Comrie. For Jimmy Lyman on the year, that was his 3rd goal. Then Sean Sullivan came up with his first goal of the season at the 32-07 mark, assisted by Graziano Coronolo. And Coronolo picked up the assist. Sullivan, his first goal ever as a University of Connecticut Husky. Then Coronolo got to the scoring act, picking up his 7th goal of the season at the 17-15 mark of the second half, assisted by Comrie. And that was Comrie's 2nd assist of the game, making the score 3-0. And Pedro DeBrito putting in his 3rd goal of the season at the 20-21 mark. Make that 4th goal, so let's check that. At the 20-21 mark, assisted by Billy Maroney in a very textbook play. 4-0 Connecticut. That's where we stand here at Gardner Dow Field. 18 minutes and 55 seconds remaining here in the contest in front of 1,400 fans. So the Huskies not playing in front of that packed house. They've been averaging over 4,000 fans a contest. But the fans that are here, the loyal ones that are coming out to see the Huskies just demolish a team that's
not as good as the Connecticut team. The New Hampshire team with a record of 3-5 entering the game, really not even in the New England rankings. The only team they beat of any substance was Boston University, 1-0 in the first game of the season. After that, they really haven't beaten anybody that was good. They beat Maine 3-0, but Maine not one of your soccer powerhouses. This is Pedro DeBrito. DeBrito controlling the ball. He's coming down the field, and he's tripped up by Scott True. And there's going to be a hold call instead of a trip. Huskies with a direct kick about 10 yards out of the area, and quickly DeBrito takes a shot loose in front. Romeo with the ball, shot goes wide to the right, and racing for it is Thompson with Gallardes. Gallardes comes and makes the play. As the ball did not go over the line, Gallardes was racing for it along with a heads-up Tommy Thompson. Gallardes got the ball and averted another goal going into the net. He boots the ball around towards midfield where Charlie McSpirit looks to settle down. He can't get it, and Brian Stevenson gets it instead. Stevenson sends it back to Eric Myron. The Huskies looking for their 11th win of the season. Their third in a row after losing 2 in a row to San Francisco and Stanford. They're coming back, and they beat Dartmouth, North Carolina, and they're looking for this game here versus the Wildcats, New Hampshire. Connecticut controlling the ball. They're in the Wildcat zone. McSpirit sending a pass up to Carlos. Carlos has the ball tackled away from him, but it goes right to the foot of Charlie McSpirit, and Connecticut still controlling. McSpirit sending a pass back to Stevenson. Stevenson over to Eric Myron. Myron playing passing back and forth with Stevenson. Finally, Stevenson clears it all the way down to Tony Pierce with 17 minutes and 7 seconds to go here in the contest, and Pierce will start it up for the Connecticut team. Cornolo and Lyman getting set to re-enter the game. I really don't understand why the Huskies are still putting in their first stringers. This is DeBrito with a break on the right side. DeBrito trying to get around a New Hampshire player. Finally does so, but he's tripped up. Sends a staring pass in front for Thompson. Shot wide to the left. Make that Carlos. Thompson was there, and so was Carlos, and Carlos got his foot on it as Thompson did. Wide to the left. DeBrito was tripped up by John Forster. Forster coming over to apologize. But DeBrito is limping, and I believe he's limping off the field. So Cornolo checks into the game along with Jimmy Lyman, and New Hampshire has that goal kick. And taking it is George Gallardes. Gallardes sends it deep downfield. Eric Myron gets a head on it. Brian Stevenson gets a head on it. Now he has his foot on it for a moment, but Jeff Growney comes up with a steal. New Hampshire brings the ball back the other way. Growney over to Tim Linehan. Linehan can't control the ball. It goes out of bounds. Last touch by Linehan, and the Huskies will take control of it. Ball goes all the way back to Tony Pierce. 16 minutes and 1 second to go in the contest. Connecticut 4, New Hampshire 0. The next game will be next Tuesday. They get the weekend off. They'll be playing against Massachusetts in home game versus here at Gardner Dow. Airtime 2:55 on the Sound Alternative. Then they'll be playing Friday in Providence, Rhode Island, when the Huskies will face Brown. That's usually a very tough contest. Lately, it hasn't been, as the Huskies have just outclassed the Brown team. But they'll be playing an away game versus Brown. Airtime 7:25. It's a night game. That's on a Friday night. Then they'll be playing Sunday versus St. John's. That game will be at Storrs, Connecticut. And that time, airtime at 12:55, and Mark Boudreau and I will be there for most of those contests. Right now, the Huskies with a break. Graciano Cornolo, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He gets around to the right side. Shot, and it is a goal! Beautiful play, set up deep. And right around midfield, and Cornolo comes up with his second goal of the contest, and it's Connecticut 5 and New Hampshire 0. As Cornolo came up, and Gallardes knew that his defense was beat, came way out of the goal. Cornolo just chipped it on the right side away from him. Still got his foot on it and sent it right into the lower right-hand part of the goal. And it's now 5-0 Connecticut. Substitute into the game, Thukas Stavrianides checks in for Cornolo. Cornolo pretty happy with that goal. His 8th goal of the season at the 29:44 mark. We'll see who assisted that play. And the Huskies should be happy with this game. They've finally broken their scoring drought. Hopefully it won't go too far and have another drought versus some of these other teams that we'll be playing. They should be able to pick up some quick goals versus Massachusetts, Brown, and St. John's, who are all Division I teams, but not the top Division I teams.
Scored by number 9, Graziano Cornolo.
We're waiting for the official scoring. Let's see who assisted on it.
On an assist to number 3, Jim Lyman.
Lyman picks up the assist.
Time of the goal.
And for Lyman, his second point of the game, or his third point of the game, he already scored a goal.
Cornolo's 8th of the season from
And
Lyman.
he has 11 points on the season. And Connecticut, again, controlling the ball. Stavrianides controlling the ball on the right side. He was just called up from the JV team, as well as another JV player, Carlos Almeida.
Number
Almeida
25, Thukas
taking
Stavrianides.
over for Jimmy Renihan. Carlos sending a chipper in front. Stavrianides coming up with the ball. Stavrianides trying to get around a New Hampshire player. Finally gets the ball stripped away by Linehan, and Linehan coming back the other way. And pass the ball on the right side to Colburn. Colburn sending the ball upfield for Jamie Walters. Walters has the ball stripped from behind by Eric Myron, and Connecticut again controlling the ball. They've kept the ball in the Wildcat area throughout most of the contest. And when it has been in the Connecticut zone, they've just been playing with it, standing up the offense. This is Lynch. Lynch sending the ball on the right side for Dunn. Jeff Dunn can't beat it before it goes over the touchline. And there'll be a throw-in for UNH and a bad pass by Eddie Lynch. 14-14 to go here in the contest. Lynch controlling the ball as the throw-in went a little bit too far for the Wildcats. Lynch sends it up for Vernes. Vernes lets it go by him for some reason, and Jamie Walters comes up with the ball. Walters passing the left side for Ryther. Ryther racing with the ball with Lynch. Lynch comes up and steals the ball from Ryther. Nice play by Eddie, and Huskies trying to give Tony Pierce another shutout. Pierce shut out the Bridgeport Purple Knights 9-0. I don't believe he had to make a save in that game. This game he's had to make more than one save. Not any of them very tough. Matter of fact, only one I can think of was very tough. It was a lobber in front, and he just punched it over the crossbar. Nice play by Tony Pierce. Huskies controlling the ball, and it's number 10, Eric Myron. Myron had an assist early in the first half. He gets it over to Carlos. Carlos sends a crossfield pass for Elio Romeo. Goes over Romeo's head, but Romeo races the ball and beats it to the touchline. And Romeo going man-to-man with number 11, John Forster. Romeo on the right side, getting around the player, sending out one in front, but Stevenson not there to make the play. Instead, Thompson does. Centers it again, cleared away nicely by Growney. Growney sending it deep downfield. Myron there to get it, and the Huskies keep it in the New Hampshire zone. But not for long if New Hampshire has their way. But quickly another steal as Romeo steals it from Ryther. And Ryther steals it right back. Dunn had a foot on it. He can't control it. And it goes out of bounds. Last touch by New Hampshire. Connecticut with the throw.
For number 26, Jeff Dunn.
Dunn takes the throw in. 12 minutes, 48 seconds remaining in the contest. Dunn gets it right into the middle for Carlos. Carlos dribbling the ball around, trying to get around Kevin Rush. Ball loose in front, and coming up with it is Scott True. True sending it deep downfield, and Eric Myron has it right around midfield. Excuse me, that's Lyman. Jimmy Lyman sending it deep for Stevenson, but it's broken up by Scott True. It goes out of bounds, and the Huskies will have, the Wildcats on the throw, and they're going to say went off the hand or foot of Stevenson. And the throw-in by New Hampshire went out of bounds, and the Huskies will get the throw-in right back. A little bit of confusion on the field. New Hampshire never took the throw in, they're going to say, and they're going to give it back to New Hampshire. And Stevenson comes up with the steal, gets it off his head, it goes out of bounds, and again, New Hampshire will have another throw in. A few players getting set to check into the game for both teams. Kieran Coffey and Sean Sullivan for the Huskies. For New Hampshire, it's going to be Ron Fancy, Bob Mason, and Jim Sutton. And even though the Wildcats do not have many freshmen on the team, as I'm counting it down, I only see about 6 or 7. So they don't have much to build on in the future, especially when it comes to soccer. Right now, New Hampshire controlling the ball. This is a shot by Jeff Growney. It goes over the goal. And the substitutes come in, and we have a new substitute for the goalkeeping chores for the Huskies. Carlos Almeida, the junior varsity player, is coming into the game.
Number 1, Carlos Almeida.
Almeida is a freshman out of Danbury, Connecticut. He's checking in for Tony Pierce. And a big round of applause for Eric Myron, Tony Pierce, as the two players check out of the game. 11 minutes and 1 second to go in the contest, so Almeida will be getting about 10 minutes of playing time. And Carlos takes the goal kick. Carlos kicks it right to the foot of Jeff Growney. Growney controlling the pass on the right side for Ron Fancy. Fancy has the ball stolen by the Huskies, but he gets it right back, and he has it on the right side. Fancy passing into the middle for Mike Pilot. Pilot now going out to the corner, trying to get around Stevenson. He can't get around Stevenson. Stevenson knocks it away. Romeo now in a battle for it with Scott True. The ball is centered in front. Husky heads it away. Thukas Stavridaitis has the ball, and he clears it deep downfield. Nice play by the freshman. And New Hampshire will race and get the ball. Almeida stands at about 5'8", 5'9", a small player for a goalie, but he is supposed to be quicker than a flash. So we'll see if he gets tested here at all today in his 10 minutes of playing. Just brought up from JVs for the injured Jim Renahan. New Hampshire controlling the ball. This is Mike Pilot with the ball on the right side. The Huskies not playing much offense now as New Hampshire is getting a little bit of the opportunity on defense, but they're not getting any closer than the attacking third of the field as Carlos comes up with the steal this time, sending it in for Brian Stevenson. Stevenson has the ball stolen by Jeff Growney. Growney sending it in, shot on goal. Almeida making his first save as a varsity member of the University of Connecticut Huskies and quickly outletting it on the right side for Thukas Stavridaitis. Thukas pass over to Elio Romeo. Romeo gets pounded by Mike Coburn, who comes up with a steal. Whistle on the play as Romeo tries to get back at him, and he gives him an elbow. So we're going to have a Coburn direct kick 9 minutes and 35 seconds to go here in the contest. Connecticut 5, New Hampshire 0. And Jim Dorsano getting set to enter the game. He hasn't played much at all here in the game at all. This is Roger Vernes. Vernes gets it over to Ed Lynch. Lynch has the ball almost stolen by Chris Rydella. Goes over the touchline. And
UConn throw for number 13.
And the throw will be had by Eddie Lynch. Lynch throws the ball deep downfield, but no one touches it. And it's going to be a throw-in for, I believe, New Hampshire. And taking New Hampshire's throw-in will be Jim Sutton. Clock running down. New Hampshire down by 5 goals. Just trying to get on the board. Just trying to make it look like they played a game here at the University of Connecticut. Like we said last year, they were shut out 10 consecutive times. One of those was a 7-0 whitewashing up in New Hampshire by the Connecticut team. Vernes controlling the ball for Connecticut. Sends it on the line. Jim Kiernan getting set to check in the game. He's the only one who hasn't played any ball at all here today. New Hampshire controlling it right around midfield. Jeff Growney has it. Growney passing the right side to Scott True. True controlling the ball, dribbling down the part of the field, passing over for teammate Bob Remason. Remason trying to get around a couple Huskies, gets in front for Jeff Growney. Growney has the ball stripped away. Ball is bouncing around loosely, and coming up with it is the Connecticut team, and it's Sean Sullivan. Sullivan sending it downfield for, I believe, Tom Thompson. Thompson looking for Ilya Romeo, and Romeo breaking down on the left side. Romeo getting tripped up a little bit on the play by Scott True, but keeps control of the ball. Passing the left side for Tom Thompson, knocked away by John Forster, but controlled by the Connecticut team. This is Ilya Romeo. Romeo on the left side getting the ball again knocked away, this time by Mike Colburn. Colburn saves it before it goes over the goal line, and he clears it over the touchline. And the Huskies are going to have a throw-in on the far sideline. Sean Sullivan controlling the ball for Connecticut. He gets into Tom Thompson. Thompson looks to make a shot on goal. Can't do so as New Hampshire comes up and gets in front of him. Ron Fancy gets the ball for the Wildcats. Fancy coming downfield the other way. Steal by Stevenson. Stevenson keeping the ball in the Wildcat zone. Sends it back for Carlos. Carlos sending on the right side for Eddie Lynch. And also getting set to check into the game, Noel Moon, I believe it is. Pass on the right side, this time going to Dunn. Dunn looking for Thukas Stavridaitis. Give and go back to Dunn. Dunn can't control. Now he gets it back. Shot on goal, and it just misses on the left side as it just went outside the crossbar. A couple Huskies were there trying to come in to make the play, but they were just a little bit later. Else they would have had a shot right in the wide open net on the left side as the goalkeeper, George Gallardis, was trying to get off the play on the right side. So a few more substitutes coming in the game, as we already said. And the whole team, it seems to be second stringers, except for Carlos. Carlos, he was anchoring down the defense.
Number 21, John Mormon.
And New Hampshire keeps control of the ball. 6 minutes, 51 seconds to go. This is Scott Ryther. Ryther sending a pass down for John Mormon. Mormon being fought for with the ball with Noel Moon. Ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by Moon, and New Hampshire has the throw-in. Throw-in goes to Ryther. Ryther kicks the ball, trying to center in front, headed away by the University of Connecticut team. Tom Thompson comes up with it, but kept in by Scott True. True keeps it in front of the goal. Almeida makes the save as the ball goes all the way back to him, and Thukas Stavridaitis takes the ball back the other way. Stavridaitis passing the right side for Moon. Moon keeps control of it, sending it up for Stavridaitis. Stavridaitis having some problems battling with it with a New Hampshire player as it's kicked out of bounds by Jim Sutton, and the Huskies will have a throw-in, and it'll be taken by Moon right in front of the New Hampshire bench. Moon to Stavridaitis. Stavridaitis gets it back to Moon. Moon sends it back for Carlos, and Carlos chips it downfield for the Huskies. There's not any Husky there to get it. There's Jim Dorsano getting a head on it. Noel Moon gets it off his foot, but he can't keep control of it. And there's a steal on the play by Scott Ryther. Ryther sends the ball upfield for a New Hampshire teammate. I believe that's number 7, Tim Linehan. Linehan back to Jimmy Sutton, and Sutton gets it into the Connecticut zone where there's a race war between Vernes and Fancy. Ball goes out of bounds before either of them can get to it, and the Huskies will have a throw-in with 5 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the contest. Right after this game, it will be Al Connor doing some music up, some rock music on the Sound Alternative, and he'll be giving away free tickets to the Shabu Inn. So stay tuned and listen for that one. You're in tune to 91.7 FM WHUS, Storrs, Connecticut, your Sound Alternative. Well, right now, the Huskies of Connecticut leading the Wildcats of New Hampshire by the score of 5-0, and what looks to be their third consecutive win. And this last streak, which had upped their record to 11 wins and 2 losses. New Hampshire is going to fall to 3 wins and 6 losses. All the substitutes into the game for the Connecticut Huskies, with the exception of Carlos, and Jim Dorsano. We even have a new goalkeeper, Carlos Almeida, who was just brought up from the JV team to replace Jim Renahan, who's out with the shoulder injury. New Hampshire had control of the ball for a moment. Now the ball is battling around loose for it, and Carlos comes up with it and kicks it on the left side for Dorsanio. Dorsanio crosses the midfield line, gets a pass up for Sean Sullivan, and Sullivan leading the break for the Connecticut team. Sullivan entering the middle of the field, takes a shot on goal, knocked away by New Hampshire, right back to Sullivan's foot, and Sullivan chips on the left side for Dorsanio. Dorsanio sending one in front. Noel Moon's not there in time to get it as he goes over the goal line, and it's going to be a goal kick for New Hampshire. And re-entering the game is Jamie Walters with 4 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the contest.
Replacing number 23, Scott Ryder. Wildcat goal kick.
So the Wildcats are going to have a goal kick. Our next broadcast will be this Saturday at 1 o'clock when we're going to have the WHUS Sports page with our hosts Mark Boudreau and Tony Savino. And I guarantee you Mark will talk a lot more in that show than he has in this broadcast so far today. And then after that, at 1:25, it's going to be Connecticut Husky football action. The Stallion, Tony Savino, and Jeff Dobeck at Memorial Stadium for a band day, as the Huskies will try to break a 3-game losing streak when they face the Crusaders of the Holy Cross. Holy Cross with a record of 3-2, Connecticut with a record of 2-3, and the Crusaders trying to amend for that last-second defeat to the hands of the Huskies when there was no time on the clock and they threw a 2-point conversion.